The first question in the third test is has the formation of linguistic states strengthened the cause of Indian Union? So means when you talk about language, yes, language is a very powerful factor. Language is very powerful factor because on the basis of language there are various nation states or countries, separate countries. So if this question would have been on the basis of what, has the secularism in India strengthened the cause of Indian unity, the answer would have been the same, because religion is a very powerful factor, language is a very powerful factor which have the potential to create separate nations. So these create what, fissiparous tendencies. So now in this regard, if we have created linguistic stage, we have created a union which is more stable. Let's see in this regard. So we can start with the statement, language is a powerful factor and many nation states are formed on having one language. Yes. So one language, one country is a very powerful factor. So I am going to do a comprehensive answer. If this question would have been on the basis of religion also, what would have been the answer? If this question is about language, so what would have been the answer? It's almost the same. I am taking now the both the sides now. Similarly, nation states are there on the basis of one religion, Now let's take an example. So I gave you example before also European Union. So European Union is a union of linguistic countries despite having religious similarity, that is Christianity. So despite having religious similarity but having different language, so Europe is a country, Europe is a union of what, or European Union is a union of linguistic countries. Similarly, I gave an example about South America also, religious similarity, that is Christianity, and one major language, that is Spanish, still comprises of various countries, many countries, still different countries. So that means when we talk about religion, when we talk about language, they have a potential to create separate nations. But when we talk about India now, so unique status of India. So when India emerged into a nation state after 1947, when we emerged into a proper nation after 1947, we inherited wide range of diversities that included religious as well as linguistic diversities. So now we inherited various diversities that included religious and linguistic. That means we have to manage them well, because diversities, if not managed well, lead to fissiparous tendencies, or means breakup of a country. So now we try to manage this. Yes, we try to manage this. Now what we did requires successful management of diversity in India. So this required. Now how we manage this? First, the religious diversities is managed by right to freedom of religion, article 25 to 28, and inclusion of secularism in the preamble. So in this way we try to manage the religious diversity of the country. Now let's talk about language now. For linguistic diversities are managed by assigning. So what we assigned? We assigned official language status under 8th schedule to 22 languages. So when we began as a nation state, yes, when the coming of the constitution, initially there were 14 languages, later we add 8 more, 22 languages are there, giving recognition to what important languages spoken in the length and breadth of our country. And now in 1956, the Fazl Ali Commission recommendation, the government started to reorganize the states on the linguistic or cultural basis. So hence the linguistic states started to emerge from 1956 onwards. So what we have seen is, we are a country having what unique feature in the entire world. We are a country with enormous diversities both of language and religion. We have tried to manage well when we compare ourselves with European Union or maybe South America. because we try to manage all types of diversities, both religion and linguistic. Religion on the basis of what? Fundamental rights and secularism, and languages on the basis of giving recognition to many languages as official language and forming linguistic states. So as a result, India gradually consolidated itself into union of linguistic states by giving due respect to linguistic diversity. So hence we gave respect to linguistic diversity. Now what we achieved? Yes, what we achieved from this? The benefits. So first of all, it put an end to fissiparous tendencies that would have weakened the country based on language. Yes, so we prevented rebellious tendencies based on what language culturalism. So hence we ensured fraternity for the nation. That is there in the preamble of the constitution. We ensure fraternity for the nation. Now we fulfilled the aspirations of the people to have their autonomous political units for governance. So on the basis of languages, when we created states, so we created what? Their own area of domination, where they were responsible for their development. Yes. So hence fulfilled the aspirations. So what we did? We did what? Political empowerment of various regions in the country. So we brought political justice. Further, now development of vernacular languages and imparting of education in them. So we started with what? Imparting education in what? Vernacular languages, thus facilitating spread of literacy. If we would have confined to English or maybe one language, yes, we would have ultimately not promoted what? Literacy in education to the extent that we have achieved. Yes, we also came with what? 3 language formula. Yes. So development of vernacular languages and imparting of education in them, thus facilitating literacy. So that means social justice. Now further, now empower the common people to voice issues of concern in their familiar language, thus enabled political participation by the common people. Yes. So when we recognized to express oneself in their own native language, we empower the people to put their opinions and voices, hence giving what? Recognition to the political empowerment of what? The common people or the masses. Now enabled the preservation of local customs, culture and festivals, that is social and cultural empowerment. So that means by giving recognition to language and linguistic stage, we have put what? Various features of the constitution in terms of empowerment and fraternity into proper application. Now hence we kept out the perceived discriminations. Now did not lead to complaints regarding discrimination in the matter of distribution of resources on the basis of language. Yes. So we prevented the feeling of discrimination on the basis of language in terms of distribution of resources. So what is the outcome for our country? Through management of diversities emerged the concept of unity and diversity. So the concept emerged, it also became more what? Powerful factor in what? Keeping the country together. We strengthened the cause of Indian unity. So hence by managing the diversity, both religious as well as linguistic, we manage the cause of Indian unity. So again, I try to address the demands of the question. So always target the demands of the question and use relevant examples.